darkness, silence. And then, a question. Let me ask you something. How many times in your life have you made a promise to yourself? A promise that sounded something like this. Starting tomorrow, everything will change. Tomorrow I'll wake up early. Tomorrow I'll finally start exercising. Tomorrow I'll study with complete focus. Tomorrow I'll become a different person. But then tomorrow arrives. The alarm rings. You open your eyes. For a moment, you remember the promise. And then just a few seconds later, you turn the alarm off and fall back asleep. That notebook you opened the night before, full of plans, goals, and determination, in the morning, it lies there exactly the same, closed, untouched. And slowly a question begins to form in your mind. Is the problem me? Am I just lazy? Am I weak? Or is there something deeper happening here? Is there a hidden reason behind this pattern, something we still don't understand? Here's the surprising truth. This story isn't just yours. It belongs to millions of people. The student who creates a brand new study timetable every week. The young man who promises himself that every Monday will be the start of his fitness journey. The person who lies in bed every night thinking, tomorrow I'll finally get serious. But something strange happens. That burst of motivation, that sudden wave of energy, it doesn't last. A few hours pass, maybe a few days, and the fire that once burned so brightly inside you suddenly disappears, and you're left sitting there wondering, where did it go? Where does motivation actually disappear to? Most people make the same mistake. They assume the problem lies within their character. They tell themselves things like, I'm just not disciplined. I'm not strong enough. And slowly these thoughts turn into beliefs. But here's the interesting part. Science tells us that the real problem is usually not your personality. It's not a lack of intelligence, and it's not a lack of ambition. The real story is happening inside your brain, and it revolves around a tiny chemical, a chemical that quietly influences almost every decision you make. Inside your brain exists a powerful chemical called dopamine. Most people describe dopamine as the happiness chemical. Dopamine is not really about happiness, it's about anticipation, it's about expectation. Your brain releases dopamine when it believes something good is about to happen. When you imagine success, when you think about achieving a goal, when you picture the future you want, your brain releases dopamine. Let's imagine something simple. You open YouTube and you watch a motivational video. The speaker is powerful, the music is inspiring, your heart starts racing. By the end of the video, your mind is full of images. You imagine yourself working harder than ever before. You imagine achieving success. And in that exact moment, your brain releases dopamine. It rewards you. But here's the strange part. You haven't actually done anything yet. No studying, no training, no real effort. Yet your brain already feels a small sense of victory. And when the real work finally appears in front of you, your brain quietly says, why struggle so much? Thousands of years ago, things were different. For our ancestors, dopamine was difficult to earn. They had to hunt for food. They had to explore dangerous environments. They had to struggle just to survive. Dopamine came after real effort, but today, the world has changed. Now, dopamine is everywhere. One scroll, one notification, one video, one like. Every few seconds, your brain receives another small reward, another small hit of dopamine, and slowly, your brain adapts. It begins to prefer easy rewards. So when you tell your brain, let's sit down and study for 4 hours, your brain responds instantly, quietly, almost automatically. No, let's pick up the phone instead. This is the moment when the real battle begins. On one side, there is your dream, the future you want, the life you imagine. But on the other side, there is your brain, a brain that evolved to conserve energy, easiest path. And this is why so many people spend years chasing motivation. Motivation is just a feeling, and feelings behave like the weather. Sometimes they appear, Sometimes they disappear. Some days you feel unstoppable. Other days you feel completely drained. And if your entire life depends on a feeling that comes and goes, the outcome becomes predictable. Dreams remain unfinished, plans remain incomplete, and frustration slowly becomes a constant companion. But the people who truly move forward understand something different. They don't wait for motivation. They build systems. They design environments that support focus. They remove distractions. They study how their brain works, and then they work with it. They know something powerful. Discipline does not come from emotions. Discipline comes from habits, from small actions repeated consistently, from simple behaviors performed every single day. Now imagine a different story. Imagine a person who until yesterday was failing constantly. They tried many times before. They started and stopped. But this time, they don't attempt something dramatic. They take a very small step. They study for just 5 minutes. The next day, 10 minutes, then 20. Nothing extraordinary, nothing heroic, just small steps. But something fascinating begins happening inside the brain. Neural pathways begin to change. New patterns begin forming. A habit slowly takes shape, day by day, week by week. And one day, that same person looks back at their life and they feel something unexpected. Surprise, because the life they once imagined, the life they once thought was impossible, has quietly become real. So, don't wait for motivation. Motivation is only a spark. It appears quickly, and it disappears just as quickly. But the fire that truly changes a life is not built from sparks. It is built from habits, small actions, repeated every day until they become who you are.